But just so you know, at 1,000 pages, that's longer than the New Testament. The whole Jesus story. I think that had a lot of important stuff in it, too. I mean, that covered the miracle birth, the death, the resurrection, the whole leprosy thing, all of it. All of it. This climate bill was longer than that. The government's attempt to try to control the weather was longer than the story of the guy who actually could control the weather. Pick up your cross and follow me, as long as it's in a GM hybrid. Let me ask you this question. Here's a question I haven't uttered out loud before. If I would have said to you a year ago, hey, what do you say? We give the government the ability to know where you are. We give the government the ability to listen in on your phone calls. We give the government the ability to listen into your private conversations. Hey, and just for added fun, we'll also give them the opportunity to shut off any kind of escape vehicle. Would anyone here before that? Why hasn't anyone asked the question, why the heck would we give them OnStar? OnStar has the ability to do all of those things. Now in the hands of the federal government, yet no one has asked that question. Why? They're using wooden cough drops in my house. Maybe that's why. Instead, we'll sit passively and we'll sit quietly. Well, they talk about now a new VAT tax, a value-added tax. Value-added tax. I tried to figure that one out. What value are they adding to that product that I'm a value-added tax? That's fantastic. By the way, just so you know, if you have children, next year is the last year for the inheritance tax, the death tax, to be at 0. Then it goes all the way back up again, which, kids, I say you unplug mom and dad before the end of next year. I got 4 kids. I'm jumpy at my house. What? It was just a cough. I'm not sick. I'm okay. I saw my 4-year-old sharpening his Tinker Toys the other day. Off his ass and gets himself a real job. That hacks me off every time I watch it. I watch it with my kids. And they're like, today's Sesame Street brought to you by the letter C. I'm like, Rafe, don't listen to that. Letter C doesn't even have any money. Letter C doesn't even have pockets to keep money in. Today's Sesame Street brought to you by the letter E. XXON. Today's episode, Big Bird washes up on the beach. But we got to make sure our kids go to school, and they've got to be palaces. I drove by a school today. Honey, where was that school where I said that? Was that a high school? Remember? Was that here in Idaho? Was that here? Was that in Utah today? Driving in Utah today. I mean, I mean, it was like, did Saddam Hussein build a palace over here? What's that? Beautiful schools, and yet I hear our politicians say the same thing over and over and over again. Why? Did you hear the speech President Obama was talking about? Yeah, there was a school on the train tracks. We're trying to say, really? There's a school on the train tracks? Wow, maybe we should just point, can I have a photo of that one? Every time you hear a politician, they're always going to talk to you about, well, we got to have schools.
We're going to have the best schools. In fact, let me just share with you the letter I got from a young lady here in our district. It says, "Dear Mr. Candidate in my area, my name is Little Sally Muffingbutt. I'm sorry this letter is so messy, but because of funding cuts by George W. Bush, my school no longer has any ink. Therefore, I'm forced to write to you in my own blood. Please help me, Mr. Politician. Because of Republican funding cuts, a train was rerouted to go right through my classroom. I don't really know how funding cuts would have affected that, but that's because the train runs between my desk and the teacher's desk, so I can no longer learn. The other day, my teacher was talking, and we were trying to memorize all of the capitals in the U.S., and I was at my desk, and she was at her desk, and she said, "And always remember, Sally, the capital of Nebraska is..." Now I'll never know what the capital of Nebraska is. And it's not a normal train either. It's a coal-fired train that pollutes the earth, spews dangerous toxins in the classroom, and carries violent prisoners. And the train stops for hours at a time right there in our classroom. And because Republicans won't allow taxes to be raised, there are no longer any locks on the train doors. So now all the pedophiles are able to roam free in the middle of my social studies class. One of them the other day offered me some candy. And I took it. I didn't know any better because Dick Cheney murdered my health teacher. I'm sorry I have to go. It's just that I'm getting a little lightheaded because I'm writing with all of my blood. Love, Sally. How did we get here? How did we get here? Are we really this stupid? Are we this stupid? Thank you. I mean, I know it's a tough question. I don't know. I have been watching the news an awful lot lately. We may be this stupid, yes. Wait, did you see that Michael Jackson funeral? Wasn't that fantastic? If you think the answer is no, may I offer some evidence, Your Honor? This is on a bottle of shampoo for dogs. Caution, the contents of this bottle should not be fed to fish. That would have given me an idea. What happened?